Hey guys, in this video we're talking about what I do with some of my maintenance clients when the weather starts to go cold here in Middle Tennessee, because I know some of you guys are in northern states and the winter is absolutely brutal. So this video is going to be packed full of awesome value and tips for those of you looking for this sort of thing. Now before we start, go below in the YouTube description box and grab my free guide to starting your auto detailing business for under $500, where I lay out the exact tools and products that you need to start your business so you don't have to waste time, energy, and money on tools and chemicals and products that don't work. Just shorten your learning curve. Go grab that guide below. Now, just to set up a little bit of context here, this is a BMW that I've seen for the last several years. It's a maintenance client of mine. This particular maintenance client doesn't fall into the traditional schedule of most of my maintenance clients, but I do have maybe what you would call a sub-maintenance client list of people who want their car detailed not necessarily every 8 weeks, but maybe more 90 days, 120 days, 150 days, maybe 3 or 4 times a year. And while the majority of my maintenance clients fall into what I've determined to be my maximum time frame or minimum time frame for a maintenance client to be considered a maintenance client, there are certain people that I do specific deals with because of the specific situation. Now, the first thing that you're going to see in this video, and this is going to be kind of a controversial video, so we'll just see how much you guys hate it or like it in the comments section below. But the first thing that we're going to do here is fill this bucket full of distilled water and an optimum no rinse solution, 1 or 2 capfuls, and then I'm dunking 5, 6, maybe 7 of my wash microfiber towels into that bucket and mixing it all up. And yes, of course, you guessed it, I'm going to be using an optimum no rinse wash and wax solution to get rid of some of this grime on the bottom of this car and really all over this car. But a couple things to really note about this strategy. Number 1, this has already been communicated with my customer in how I'm going to address this particular vehicle, because I know some of you guys are cringing saying, man, how could you ever wash a car like that? It's so dirty. You're going to introduce tons of micro scratches. So there's a few things to say about that. Number 1, I've talked to my client about this because she lives in a sort of townhouse apartment unit. You can kind of see it's actually a kind of like a gated community here in the city that I live in. And so it's kind of an upscale place. There's not any water spigots or outlets that I can plug into outside of her garage. And so this is not only the quickest way to get this done, but it's also the most kind of economical as far as, and it makes the most logical sense as far as where I am, which is why I'm doing it this way. Now, it is worth noting, the optimum no-rinse wash and wax solution is not what I do most of the time. It's not what I do least of the time, if that makes sense. It's what I do sometimes on a case-by-case scenario. And so what you'll note about this particular vehicle is that it is white, number 1. Number 2, it's got a fair amount of grease, grime, and dirt on the bottom areas. And number 3, it's in really good condition. Now, like I said, this particular vehicle is one that I see more like 3 to 4 times a year. It's a little bit less often than my average maintenance client. But before I just go in with an optimum no-rinse solution, pulling off the grease and grime and introducing God knows how many micro scratches and macro abrasions, which again, I'm not doing. I'm just being a little dramatic here for the people who are freaking out about it. Before I go do that, I explain all of these things to my customer. We talk about the fact that once a year to once every 2 years, it makes sense to do a simple 1-stage polish to keep things in great condition if that's what they want. If they're not concerned about micro scratches or micro abrasions, I'm not concerned about scratches or micro abrasions. And so this is one of those things where we have to put the detailer's ego aside and sort of adapt to certain conditions that you have to deal with in the detailing world. And so one of the things on the channel that you'll find is that I talk tons about foam cannons and 2-bucket wash methods, and I talk tons about waterless and rinseless wash methods. It depends on the situation. It depends on the customer. It depends on the car. It depends on the time of year. It depends on the time. And this is all something that has to be considered in the detailing business. And the reason I post videos like this that go along with some of my videos and don't go along with other of my videos is because it's important to understand that in the detailing world, you shouldn't oversimplify things. You should take them, if you want to run a really efficient business, a good business, a profitable business, you have to take things on a case-by-case basis. Now, to basically minimize the micro abrasions or micro scratches that are being introduced at any level in this particular scenario, of course, I'm using number one, completely washed new microfiber towels, and number two, of course, using a different side on each panel that I switch to so that each time I touch the car, it's with a fresh, clean side. I also, of course, will re-drench the microfiber towel without dipping it back into the bucket, just by letting other towels drip on it to add that lubricity at any point in time that I think is necessary. The other thing to keep in mind here is that this particular scenario is unique because my customer is not concerned about sealing the paint and waxing the paint and doing all this, what we would probably call regular detailing stuff, but she would call fancy stuff to the paint. She wants nothing more than a wash and wax in one product every now and then. And because of that, this particular client fits this bill or fits this mold of what I'm doing here in the detailing world. A quick wash, a quick wax in one product, throwing the towel out when it's done, and using a totally new towel when I'm coming to a new panel. And then I'm going to do certain things in the video, as you'll see, clay barring certain areas, using tar remover in certain areas, using bug removers in certain areas. But this particular scenario represents a really profitable scenario in the detailing world because I can give my client exactly what she wants on a regular basis, and I can save myself a ton of time because what she wants fits into this little scenario of a really quick detail. And because we have a lot of amazing products and tools and kind of newer chemicals in the detailing world that weren't here 10 years ago, it becomes very, very quick on the detailer. This is one of those things that I generally do not fill my detailing clientele list with, but it is something that comes up every now and then, and it is something that you will probably deal with more often than not in the beginning stages of your business. People who don't want to pay for necessarily the top tier level, the nicest thing, the nicest wash and wax in the world, but they do want their car to be quote unquote shiny and look good. They're not concerned about micro abrasions. They're not concerned about micro scratches. They're not concerned about any of that stuff. The only thing they're concerned about is the price tag that it takes to make their car shiny. And once again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm saying this is an area where you have to put the detailer's ego on the shelf and decide what you're going to do. Are you going to give the customer what they're asking for and what they want and what they're going to be overly excited and overly happy about? Or are you saying no to something and refusing profitability in your business because of some detailing ego where you say, I can't touch a car unless I do it this way, in this manner, with this product? And that's where I would say a lot of guys really get themselves in a lot of trouble. So you can see I'm moving on to the front of the car here, going to be addressing the bugs, getting a little bit of stuff on my camera as well. But this represents a situation that is really just one problem-solving moment after the other. Number one, we're using the optimum no rinse like we talked about. Number two, we got to figure out how to address every part of the car without any water, without any hose, without anything like that. We got to figure out how to remove stuff off a white car where you see everything no matter what, without a bunch of the regular luxuries that I normally have. And you can see me kind of laughing in the video because I actually have my wife on location with me dealing with this vehicle. Now I'm going to step back and let you guys watch the rest of the exterior detail, which is super quick because I want you guys to see the products and tools that I implement here in order to get around some of these problems and kind of create a problem-solving opportunity here that might help you in the winter world and the detailing world wherever you are in your particular business. And then I'm going to come back in the end and we'll close everything out. So enjoy the rest of the detail.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
Alright guys, as my wife holds the shaky camera and I finish up with the tires here, just know that every tool and product that I used in this video will be linked up below in the YouTube description box. So if you want to see anything I used here, curious about what that is, go below in the YouTube description box and all those links will be conveniently there for you. And I can't emphasize it enough, guys, make sure you do not click off this video without grabbing that free guide to starting your auto detailing business for under $500. I would have given anything to have somebody just give me the answers 10 years ago, but I had to learn through so much trial and error. I promise this will shorten your learning curve. Of course, guys, if you're new to the Wilson Auto Detailing channel and you like this content, then hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you get notified when I publish future videos. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Keep working hard, and I will see you guys in the next video.